dreaded F chord. Guitar teachers receive more complaints about this chord shape than about anything else. And it's not even us that invented it. But how can such an awkward chord be made to sound clean? Well, there are a surprising number of answers to this question, but they all generally fall into two categories. Either you have to find a way to work with the F chord shape as normally taught, or if after a fair trial that proves impossible for you, then it's worth exploring the several different alternative shapes that you can use to play F. We'll take a look at some of the alternative shapes next lesson, but for now there are very good reasons for trying to master the basic F chord shape if you possibly can. So we'll start with that. When you see the diagram, it immediately presents you with two conflicting problems. It's asking you to hold down the top two strings with your first finger, which is in itself not always that easy to do successfully. But even when you have found a way to hold those two strings down and make them sound clean, it's my betting that your good work gets undone the moment you try and add the other two fingers. Because whichever way you try it, there appears to be a conflict between holding these two strings down and holding the top two strings down with your first finger at the same time. Lean this way and the notes under the second and third fingers go dead. Lean back this way to get the pressure onto those two strings, and the top two strings go dead. Most frustrating, isn't it? But now let's look at some possible solutions. Let's start by placing the ring finger first. So that's the third finger here at fret 3 on the 4th string. Then play the third string open to check for clearance, and lean this finger over to try and find the smallest angle you can get away with without this finger interfering with this string. That's just beginning to hear, it's just beginning to buzz there. So I've leaned that over too far, I want to come off a little bit. That's my best possible angle I'm going to get on that finger. For those of you with slightly larger fingertips, it may be worth experimenting with moving the fingertip slightly higher. That's towards the A string. Generally speaking, it won't matter if you mute that 5th string out. So there may be a bit more leeway here than you might imagine. Okay, now let's add the second finger at fret 2 on the 3rd string. And we'll test that in the same way. This time by playing the 2nd string open and adjusting the angle and position of this finger to get as flat an angle as we can without it fouling this string. Again, it doesn't matter if this finger touches the 4th string because that's dead anyway behind this finger. Okay, so once you're satisfied that you've done all you can to reduce the angle on these two fingers, simply place your first finger on the top two strings like this. So actually place the finger between the two strings. If your guitar is reasonably well set up and you don't have tiny fingertips, that will normally be sufficient to hold the strings against the fret wire. Test for a clean sound from the top two strings and adjust the angle of that first finger either to help clean up the sound or to reduce the pressure that you're using and the subsequent discomfort. Note that the angle of the finger can be altered by shifting the position and angle of your palm, your wrist, your elbow, and even your shoulder. Notice also that different sizes and shapes of fingertips will necessitate using different parts of the fingertip. Its inside edge, the flat of the finger, the outside edge, or the tip of the finger. What works best for one person won't work for another, so you have to find your own personal approach to this. Keep experimenting and testing, and once you've found what works best for you, take good note of exactly what you're doing with each finger. Whichever approach you end up with, you will need to groove it in with plenty of practice. These instructions will help resolve the basic F chord problem for the majority of players. But you may be in a select group of people for whom even this approach doesn't work. Well, in my next lesson, I'll show you a few alternative shapes you can use to play F. If we can't get through the obstacle, we'll find a way round it. If you found this little video useful, please do click on the like button if there is one, or leave a comment, and do feel free to share the video with your friends. And if you'd like to gain full access to all our guitar teaching materials, please do visit the Secret Guitar Teacher website and take a free look round at what's available there. See you again soon.